The hidden triggers. She can't resist. Stoic Game. Let's start with a harsh truth most men avoid. Women aren't captivated by effort. They're not obsessed with nice. They don't daydream about the guy who texts back the fastest or sends the longest good morning paragraph. No, they become addicted to the man who knows how to hold back without needing to say a word. To the man who can be fully present and then disappear into purpose. To the man who makes them feel something they haven't felt in a long time. Mystery, intrigue, pull. You've been lied to, brother. From the moment we were young, we were fed the same message. If you love her, prove it. Show her how much she means to you. Never let her wonder where you stand. So, what did we do? We overgave. We chased validation. We made her the mission and us the side quest. We texted too much, complimented too fast, stayed too available, sacrificed peace just to keep her attention. And what did that get us? Ghosted, disrespected, ignored. The harsh reality, value decreases with overexposure. This isn't about bitterness. It's not about blame. It's about truth. Brutal, quiet, stoic truth. Here's one of the deepest attraction triggers most men overlook. The more she sees you, the less she feels you. We're not talking about going cold. We're not talking about pretending to be busy. We're talking about reclaiming your energy, moving with intention, disappearing into your life, and letting your absence speak louder than your words ever could. Why detachment is magnetic when done right. There's something powerful, even spiritual, about a man who doesn't cling. He's focused, he's grounded, he doesn't chase after things, he attracts them. That's why detachment, not disinterest, but detachment, is so powerful. It's not about ignoring her. It's about no longer placing her at the center of your universe. You don't orbit around her anymore. You've built your own gravity. And trust me, women feel that. They don't consciously understand it, but their attraction responds to it every single time. Absence without games. This is the Stoic way. This isn't about acting cold. This isn't about pulling back to make her chase you. That's manipulation, and manipulation is weak. Stoic men don't manipulate. They lead. The absence I'm talking about is earned. It's natural. It's automatic when your life is so full, so aligned, that you don't need to constantly give updates, explanations, or presents to be remembered. You're just living your mission. And in doing so, you create a silence that draws her in. Not because you're playing hard to get, but because your attention has real weight now. And when you do give it, it feels different. It lands harder. It means something. Let her miss you without trying. Ever notice how the men who aren't trying always seem to be the ones women think about the most? It's not because they're more attractive. It's not even because they're better men. It's because their detachment triggers curiosity. And curiosity is the seed of obsession. If she always knows where you are, what you're thinking, how you feel about her, there's no tension, no spark, no mystery, just predictability. And predictability kills desire. So give her a gift no one else is willing to give. Space. Let her wonder. Let her sit in silence. Let her feel your absence, and not to manipulate her, but to respect yourself. This is the beginning of real game. Forget the tricks. Forget the fake alpha moves. Forget the pickup lines. Stoic game isn't about what you say. It's about who you are when you say nothing at all, and what she feels in that silence. This is the shift from overcommunicating to strategic silence, people-pleasing, to self-honoring, chasing, to leading. This is the game you win by mastering you. Why giving too much kills attraction, and how to stop doing it. Let's break it down. You're told to give compliments, attention, time, validation. You're told to be the guy who always says yes, who shows up every time she calls, who listens, supports, proves, and sacrifices. Sounds noble, right? It sounds like love. But here's the reality. Giving too much, too soon, too often is the fastest way to drain your value. It's not that giving is bad. It's about how, when, and why you do it. If it comes from a place of insecurity, it feels like neediness. And if it feels like neediness, it triggers a woman's instinct to pull away. Why? Because neediness tells her you don't have options. And when a man has no options, his presence becomes too easy to access, too predictable, and too emotionally heavy. And guess what? That doesn't feel safe, or sexy, or inspiring. Attraction isn't earned through effort. It's felt through energy. Most men try to prove themselves. But here's the truth. Women don't fall for men who try to prove their worth. They fall for the men who already believe they're enough. Let that sink in. If you believe your worth must be earned through chasing, then you'll always be working to win her over. And in doing so, you'll lose your power. Because the moment she becomes your mission, you've already failed your own. The Stoic law: give from wholeness, not emptiness. Now don't get it twisted. Stoic men are givers. They're generous, present, strong. But the difference is this: they give from abundance, not anxiety. They're not trying to impress. They're not chasing reassurance. They're not over-investing emotionally to secure the woman. Instead, their presence is a bonus in her life, not a lifeline. When you stop needing women to validate you, you become more attractive without even trying. Women are emotionally intelligent. They feel your intentions instantly. You can't fake this. You can't cover it up with compliments or gifts or effort. She'll know. She'll feel it when your smile is tied to her reply, when your day depends on her mood, when your self-esteem rises and falls with her attention. And here's the kicker. Even if she likes the attention at first, it becomes a burden later. Because now you're not a partner. You're an emotional weight. You're a man who needs her in order to feel worthy. That's not masculine. That's not attractive. And deep down, you know that. Here's what to do instead. Create emotional independence. It's not detachment from love. It's detachment from neediness. You want her? Cool. But you don't need her to feel complete. Let that become your energy. And suddenly, everything shifts. Now you don't chase, you choose. You don't overextend. You offer. You're not seeking approval. You're walking in self-approval. And she feels that before you ever speak. Reclaim your time, energy, and presence. Your attention is your currency. Spend it wisely. Don't give it all away just because she's beautiful. Don't invest all your thoughts, time, and energy into someone who hasn't earned access to your deeper world. Make her work for your presence, not because you're playing games, but because it actually has value. When your life is rich, focused, and on purpose, your time becomes sacred. And sacred things are rare, and rare things are respected. Time for the mirror check. Ask yourself, are you trying to win her over by doing more? Or are you becoming a man so full of self-respect that she naturally wants to be around you. You'll know by how you feel. Anxious men overgive. Centered men offer wisely. Which one are you becoming? Let her lean in while you level up. Stop forcing connection. Stop chasing a vibe. Stop convincing someone to see your worth. Let her come to you. Let her feel the absence of your overgiving. Let her miss the man who's now pouring back into himself. And as you do that, she'll feel the shift. And if she's the right one, she'll come find you. Because now, you're not just another man. You're the man she can't stop thinking about. The power of absence. Why space creates desire. Let's make something clear. Absence is not rejection. It's not punishment. It's not some manipulation tactic used to make her chase. No, it's something deeper, calm, more stoic. Absence is self-respect in motion. Presence without purpose. Pressure. Most men live in emotional overdrive, constantly available, overly attentive, always on call for our moods. But here's the truth. If your presence doesn't come with boundaries, it turns into pressure. And pressure kills attraction. It suffocates curiosity. It removes the mystery that makes you magnetic. What's the alternative? Space, silence, stillness. Not because you're avoiding her, but because you're involved in something bigger than her. Your mission, your craft, your discipline. Space builds tension, and tension builds attraction. Here's the psychology behind it. When you're always available, her brain adjusts. She starts to predict you. You become emotionally accessible, but also emotionally forgettable. But when you create space, by living with purpose, it introduces uncertainty, and uncertainty triggers the mind to pay closer attention. It's called the Zeigarnik effect, the psychological tendency to remember interrupted or incomplete experiences more vividly. Translation: your absence makes her wonder. Your silence makes her think. Your purpose makes her pause. She starts filling in the blanks. Where is he? What's he working on? Why hasn't he texted me first today? That curiosity becomes tension, and that tension becomes attraction. Absence isn't a tactic. It's a byproduct of a purposeful life. You don't fake distance. You live a life that's so full of growth, challenge, movement, and mission that you're naturally less available. You're not ignoring her. You're just engaged with yourself. Your purpose is now your priority. And that creates emotional polarity. Because while most men orbit her world, you've created a gravitational pull of your own. Stoic men move different. They don't chase. They don't beg. They don't try to force connection. They understand that love isn't built through constant presence. It's sparked through intentional presence. And that means you control your availability. You're not being cold. You're being conscious. Because you know, when you master your time, you master her attention. Balance is the key, not extremes. Let's be clear. This isn't about being distant forever. It's about knowing when to engage and when to withdraw. Too much closeness? She feels overwhelmed. Too much distance? She feels disconnected. But that sweet spot in between, that's where you become unforgettable. That's where her mind lingers on you when you're not around. That's where her energy begins chasing yours, even when you're focused elsewhere. Be the storm and the stillness. Your absence should feel like calm power, not cold silence. It should come from a place of grounded masculinity, not emotional games. Because when a man can pull away with purpose, not panic, when he can step back and pour into his mission without fear of losing her, That's when she feels it. She feels your value. She feels your energy shift. She feels the pull of a man who's not afraid to walk his path alone. And suddenly, she wants back in. Scarcity. Why being less available makes you more valuable. Let's get something straight. What's always available is rarely desired. You ever wonder why diamonds are valuable? Not because they're flashy, but because they're rare. Now flip that logic onto yourself. When you're constantly texting, always free, always eager to respond, you become emotionally abundant. And in the realm of attraction, abundance kills curiosity. Scarcity is not a game, it's a signal. When you're not always available, you're sending a clear message. My time is precious. My energy is earned. This isn't ego. This is worth. It's a quiet standard that speaks volumes without you having to say a word. And here's the truth most men never hear. The moment she feels she has you completely is the moment her attraction starts to fade. Not because she doesn't care, but because there's no longer a mystery, no challenge, no tension to hold her emotional focus. Scarcity keeps the fire burning. Most men are too eager. And that's the problem. They want her attention. They want her approval. They want to feel wanted. So, they overgive, overtext, overdo everything too soon, too fast. But what does this do? It creates imbalance. She feels it. And whether consciously or not, she pulls away. Because she doesn't want a man who's waiting for her. She wants a man who's moving forward with or without her. Scarcity is rooted in self-focus, not selfishness. You're not being distant because you don't care. You're focused because you do care about your own evolution. That's Stoic Game. You protect your energy. You build your value. You prioritize your world, not as a strategy, but as a lifestyle. And when she senses that you're not always available, she doesn't see it as rejection. She sees it as power. Because now, your attention feels earned, not automatic. And that's what makes it addicting. Being less available doesn't mean being cold. This is important. Stoic men aren't cold. They're measured. They don't ghost. They don't play games. They just don't hand over emotional access so easily. Why? Because they understand. Emotional availability is a gift, not a giveaway. They give presence with intention, not desperation. And that changes everything. The shift from needing her to choosing her. Once you embrace this mindset, you start to feel the shift. You're no longer chasing her affection. You're evaluating if she fits into your vision. You're not waiting for a text back. You're focused on your goals. You're not trying to impress. You're trying to express who you are, what you stand for, where you're going. Now you're not asking, does she like me? You're asking, is she even aligned with the man I'm becoming? And that's when everything changes. When you're rare, you're remembered. Let that sink in. When you make yourself scarce, not to manipulate, but to stay aligned with your mission, you create space for her to value your presence. Your silence starts speaking louder than your words. Your time becomes a gift, not a given, and your name starts living rent-free in her mind. Emotional mastery, the calm strength she craves. Let's talk about something that separates men who are unforgettable from those who are easily dismissed. It's not looks, not money, not even status. It's emotional mastery. the ability to stay grounded when others react, the power to stay calm when emotions rise, the strength to feel without being ruled by those feelings. A man who can control his emotions controls the room. You've probably heard this phrase before. He who angers you controls you. But let's go deeper, because women don't just observe your emotions, they feel them. When you're reactive, snapping back, over-explaining, or showing frustration when she pulls away, you reveal insecurity. You expose your lack of control, and she senses it instantly. But when you stay composed, when you observe, not overreact, that's when she sees you differently, like a rock in the middle of chaos, unshaken, unmoved, unbothered. She wants a man she can emotionally lean on, not one she has to emotionally raise. It's not her job to fix your emotional mess, and it's not your job to suppress how you feel either. Stoic mastery isn't about being numb, it's about regulating, being aware of what you feel, without letting those feelings control your actions or decisions. Because the moment your peace depends on her behavior, you've already lost your power. You don't chase her, you lead yourself. Here's the truth. A woman is instinctively drawn to a man who doesn't need her to feel okay. When your validation comes from within, when your calm is self-sourced, she feels safe around you. Not because you're trying to make her feel something, but because you're not trying at all. You're just steady, centered, focused. And trust me, that emotional steadiness, it's rare, it's attractive, and more importantly, it's respected. Feel it, then frame it. Being stoic doesn't mean you ignore your emotions. It means you feel them fully, and then frame them wisely. You're not a robot. You're a man of depth, and you can be vulnerable, but with control. You can share how you feel without losing who you are, because you've done the inner work, and she feels that in your presence. She senses the stillness behind your eyes, the fire under the surface, but never out of control. Why emotional mastery is magnetic. Most men today are either too closed off or too emotionally erratic. But a stoic man, he knows the middle path. He's the one she looks at and thinks, he doesn't need me to fix him, and that makes me want to get closer. He's the one who doesn't argue to be right. He listens, he reflects, he responds when it matters. And only then, that's power, that's presence, that's masculinity. You become the eye of the storm. When she's spinning in her own thoughts and emotions, when the world is pushing chaos into your life, you stand still, not passive, but anchored. Because a woman doesn't want to be your emotional home. She wants to visit yours. And when your emotional energy is calm, strong, and clean, she can't help but trust you, crave you, respect you. Real confidence, built, not bought. Let's cut through the noise. What most people call confidence isn't confidence at all. It's performance. It's noise. It's external. A loud car, a flashy watch, the look at me energy that screams insecurity behind the mask. But real confidence? It's silent, deep-rooted, and earned, not worn. Competence creates confidence. Here's the truth most men overlook. Confidence comes from competence. You become confident by becoming capable in your body, in your business, in your communication, in your craft, in how you handle life. The more problems you solve, the more pain you overcome, the more challenges you conquer, the more solid you feel inside. Because you know, I've got me. And that kind of quiet self-trust, that's what women feel, even if they can't explain it. She can't love you more than you love yourself. A woman will never believe in you more than you believe in you. If you walk around unsure, seeking approval, looking to her for constant reassurance, she'll feel it and she'll drift. But when you carry yourself with the calm certainty of a man who trusts himself, even in silence, that's when her attraction grows without effort. You don't need to tell her your high value. You embody it. It's in the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you look her in the eye without flinching. No games, no proving, just presence. Approval is an inside job. Every time you chase approval from her, you lower your value. Not because she's cruel, but because deep down, she's watching you to see, does he know who he is? And if you don't, she won't either. But when your approval is internal, when your self-worth is non-negotiable, she'll want to be around you more. Not because you need her, but because you've made her want to be part of something greater. Confidence is humble, not arrogant. There's a big difference between being confident and being cocky. Cocky men talk a lot. Confident men don't need to. Cocky men posture. Confident men own the room by being centered, grounded, calm. You don't need to be the loudest guy. You just need to know your worth without saying a word. Confidence comes from doing hard things. You build confidence like a muscle. Every time you do what you said you would do. Every time you push through the discomfort. Every time you follow through on your word. You send a message to yourself. I'm the kind of man who shows up. That's what creates real power, and she feels it in the way you move, act, and lead. So, what's the move? Stop overcompensating. Stop relying on validation. Stop thinking confidence is something you fake. Instead, build skills. Keep promises to yourself. Face discomfort head on. Lead your own life first, before trying to lead hers. That's the energy she won't be able to ignore. Not because you're acting, but because you've become.